Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. There wasn't much that came out this week from my pull list, so I walked around the shop and I grabbed some random stuff off the rack. We're going to go through all of that, and we're going to start with image number 12. I grabbed this just because of Science Dog, but what surprised me is there's a story from Latour in here, and I guess publishers are letting Latour work again? I thought he was, I don't know if blacklisted is the right word, but ostracized for sure for a while. I heard something recently super vague about Southern Bastards, so I don't know if people are starting to let Latour back in, but I found that very interesting. So, like I said, Science Dog is the second story here. It seems like certainly a continuation from a previous story, and it doesn't actually end, so I'm a little bit lost, but whatever, that's fine. So it ends here with a to be continued, and will it though? Is the question. I don't know, but it's entertaining. It's interesting. It's certainly not worth $6. Certainly not worth $6 on its own. But this Latour story. So I went and I read this, and this is very strange. It's strange. It's interesting as a just real world factual historical thing on mascots. It's interesting, but also it's weird that this exists at all, that there's a discussion of mascots. I found this one really interesting too. If you pause to read that. It's just weird that someone took the time to create this on mascots. That's really what I find weird. And then I guess too, like I was saying, just that Latour is back, I find interesting. I had liked his work. I've got a stack of Brian Wood books that I'm trying to figure out what to do regarding the read pile and my reread, and whether or not I'm going to do videos on those. And I had liked his work, so I have a bunch of his stuff, and I don't know if he's going to come back to comics at some point. It seems like everyone comes back. Alice is starting to come back around, but so the mascot story rolls right into this one by Justin Norman and Eric Stevenson. I read this one as well. It looked interesting. It is cute. It's very short. It doesn't, I don't think, really end. It just sort of stops, which I guess is an ending in its own way. But I honestly haven't really enjoyed the Image anthology series at all. I picked up a few of them. I don't think any of them are worth the $6 cover price, and I hope... Oh, I'll show this off too, because I just ran across this. So Gehenna is a story from Kindlin, and it's set in that universe of Frontiersman and Antioch, and it says here that it will continue in Gehenna Endless Knot, which I hope is true. Antioch ran into some trouble. It's now being collected, even though 2 or 3 of the issues never came out. Whatever. Hopefully, whatever the problem was is corrected going forward. Hopefully, we get more from that universe, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Anyway, I've already said I don't think any of these were worth the cover price, but I bought it so you don't have to. Dead Romans, issue 2. I really enjoyed issue 1. However, I had a minor point of confusion regarding a couple of events that happened in issue 1. I intended to reread issue 1 and never got around to it. So issue 2 thankfully clears up some of that, and also there's a preview here for issue 3 at the end. It's just this text, but that actually answers some questions as well. So any confusion I had has been cleared up now, and I can just enjoy this. It's a incredibly well written. The art is also just spectacular. Very much enjoying this historical fiction. It's just really well done by everyone involved. Highly recommend this. So, I'll start with this, right? I've heard good things about the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover. I didn't read any of the first one. This is the second one. It's currently coming out. This is from, I want to say, a couple of months ago. I'm a fan of Ninja Turtles. My brother watched Power Rangers when we were kids. So I was a bit too old, but it was frequently on in the house just because my brother was the right age bracket for that. And then there's Dan Mora, which I'm a frequent praiser of Dan Mora's work. And this is no exception. The art is phenomenal. The story is also really well done. I might grab more of this. I don't know if I'm going to grab the first trade or just keep reading the volume 2. This Rat King is phenomenal. I love that. And I think somewhere there's a better shot of it, but I think he's got a robot arm. Yeah, there it is. It's weird. I don't see Bebop, but Rocksteady's in this. Rocksteady teaming up with Goldar. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy this enough to the point that I'm thinking about grabbing the other issues that are currently on the back issue rack. So, like everyone else is saying, this is good. I was prepared to say that the last time I had bought an issue of Green Arrow, it was done by Kevin Smith and Phil Hester. However, I then remembered there was a New 52 series, and I probably grabbed that, although I don't remember. But it has been, let's say, at least more than a decade since I bought an issue of Green Arrow. My wife saw this, and she's like, that doesn't seem like you. And I'm like, I'm trying it out. And honestly, I am more interested in the side characters than I am the title character, Roy. And so Connor was in the Robin Lazarus Island death tournament thing with Robin, and I was finally interested in Connor for a while. Roy and Cheshire are Young Justice, right? There's some nostalgia there. Peacemaker, I'm curious about how he's going to work in. And yeah, it's the side characters that I have more interest in than Green Arrow himself. What I found strange about this, though, is so it starts like this, which is mildly amusing. And then we get to this, which is certainly curious. Now, I didn't read Dark Crisis. There's a reference to Dark Crisis later. And then we get this 2-page origin story, and this got me thinking, like, how much time do we actually spend collectively, right? So, the comic publishing creators, how much time is spent trying to recap things for new readers when the readership has been shrinking for decades? Like, how much time is being wasted on 2-page spreads like this, and then immediately followed by this? I'm like, come on, let's get to some actual story at some point, right? I don't think I'm continuing with this because there's just not enough here to hook me. But it's fine. It's fine as far as mainstream superhero books go. It's just not for me. Up next we have the final issue of Mary Jane and Black Cat, and it's mostly disappointing. So, nothing really happens to the title characters. There's no change, there's no transformation. They get plucked from continuity for a few issues for a crossover event that I didn't read, and by the end of this, they're placed back into continuity, and nothing has changed. There is a slight change to the status of Limbo, but as far as the title characters go, there's zero change. This is ultimately, it's a fun adventure, I guess, but it's ultimately, it has no consequences. So I honestly don't recommend getting this. There should be a trade coming, and there's no real point in reading it. Another final issue is Strange Academy Finals, and the confrontation that had been brewing for this entire series, but even going back into the previous series, does come to a head. Things are not resolved, but there is a conclusion, which is weird. There's also sort of a tease for things to come. There's this, and then there's all of this, which says stay tuned, but who knows if or when. This has been good. I wanted an actual ending, and I don't get it. And as much as I've enjoyed this, I had hoped for more. Something. Instead of just this vague, non-promise, things are going to continue. Like, when? And are they really? So, this is disappointing. But it's also good. There's a death here, and I don't like that. That's not sitting well with me. This is hard to recommend. It's good, but it's also disappointing. Lastly, there is The Forged. I did not get issue 1. I was drawn to this because of both the color and just the physical size of it. It's oversized in all dimensions. I don't know the page count on this, but it's quite lengthy. And then you've seen, this is a regular comic, so it's definitely quite large. But Image is really good about putting out preview pages for their new series. I didn't remember reading The Forged, but I sought those preview pages out, and there is a 2-page spread in there with a woman walking, and there's some mechs in the background. And I do remember reading that, and there was a reason that I didn't get issue 1, but I couldn't remember that at the time. And I grabbed issue 2, and it is... I won't be getting issue 3. I won't even go back and get issue 1, that's for sure. What this mostly is... Actually, there's this great recap about what's happened thus far. So it's really not even, I find, necessary. If it had just started here, that would have been fine with me. But what this mostly is, predominantly, is it's made up sci-fi words. So it's a bunch of proper nouns for things that aren't real. And it's made up military jargon. So it's slang for things that also aren't real, and then it's swearing. It's a very strange... I don't know what to make of it. The art's pretty nice, though, except I like the art when it shows the women out of their suits. That's a strange sentence, but it's true. I just think the artist is much better at humans than they are at mechs. Maybe just because I don't like the mech designs, but the faces I think are great, and then the mechs, I don't know, just look like rectangles. So I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the writing really, and the art is nice, but I mean it's great. It's a lot of destruction. It's a lot of desolate planet. There's a couple of creatures in here that are also well done, but I don't think this is playing to the artist's strength, in my opinion. I don't know. So this, I don't recommend this either. So that is everything that I got this week. It's kind of disappointing. I'm going to give Pick of the Week to Dead Romans as the best thing, certainly. If it had come out, Power Rangers Ninja Turtles would have been a contender, but it didn't. And I think Strange Academy should be a contender, except the lack of a resolution, really, sticks in my side. And then the rest of this is just it's fine. None of it's great. Dead Romans, however, is great. And as always, I get all of my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. I think next week is predominantly DC. I don't know. I hope that's better than this. But thanks for watching.